Imagine waking up one morning to find your neighbors whispering about you. Not about gossip or minor disputes, but accusing you of the unthinkable. Witchcraft. Your life teeters on the brink, and every word you utter could seal your fate. This was Salem, Massachusetts, in 1692, a town swallowed by fear, turning neighbor against neighbor, and ultimately unraveling its social fabric. What fueled this hysteria? Who were the key figures? And could something so horrifying happen again in today's world? Let's uncover the haunting truth behind the Salem Witch Trials, where suspicion, paranoia, and tragedy collided in a way that continues to chill us centuries later. Salem, in the late 1600s, was no idyllic New England village. It was a Puritan settlement, deeply religious, isolated, and struggling. Life was hard, and every challenge seemed like a test from God, or worse, a sign of the devil's influence. Puritans believed in a stark worldview. You were either with God or against him. There was no middle ground. Illnesses, failed crops, or even natural disasters were often seen as divine punishments or evidence of witchcraft. The community itself was fractured. Salem Village, with its struggling farmers, often clashed with Salem Town's more prosperous merchants. Add personal grudges, land disputes, and a fragile political climate, and you had a society primed for conflict. Into this tense environment came something far darker: whispers of witches. It began in the household of Reverend Samuel Parris. His 9-year-old daughter, Betty, and 11-year-old niece, Abigail Williams, started experiencing strange fits. They screamed, contorted their bodies, and complained of biting sensations. The local doctor, William Griggs, had no explanation other than witchcraft. This diagnosis terrified the community. If these young, innocent girls could be afflicted, no one was safe. Under intense pressure, the girls began naming names. 1. Tituba, an enslaved woman of Caribbean origin who worked in the Parris household. 2. Sarah Good, a destitute beggar. 3. Sarah Osborne, an elderly woman who had fallen out of favor with the community. These women were easy targets, marginalized, vulnerable, and different. Their arrests marked the beginning of a spiral that no one could stop. But it was Tituba's confession that fanned the flames. She spoke of Satan's promises and described surreal visions of black dogs and flying witches. Whether her confession was coerced or not, it terrified the Puritans. They believed Salem was under siege by the devil himself. The accusations spread like wildfire. By the summer of 1692, Salem had become a battleground of accusations and denials. More than 200 people were accused, spanning all ages and social classes. At the heart of the trials were the so-called afflicted girls. Their dramatic fits and chilling testimonies became central to the courtroom drama. These young women screamed, convulsed, and claimed to see spectral images of the accused tormenting them. One by one, people were arrested. Husbands turned on wives, children testified against parents, and even prominent members of society weren't spared. But what counted as evidence? 1. Spectral evidence. If the afflicted claimed to see a ghostly image of you attacking them, it was taken as proof. 2. The witch's mark. Any unusual blemish on the body was considered a mark left by the devil. 3. Confessions under duress. Some accused people confessed to save themselves, naming others in the process. The trial of Rebecca Nurse, an example of injustice. Rebecca Nurse was a 71-year-old matriarch known for her piety. When she was accused, it shocked the community. How could such a devout woman be a witch? Despite strong support from her neighbors, Nurse was convicted based on spectral evidence. Even the slightest doubt cast upon her innocence was enough to seal her fate. She was hanged on July 19, 1692. Her case serves as a chilling reminder. In an atmosphere of fear, even the most respected individuals aren't safe. 19 people were hanged on Gallows Hill. One man, Giles Corey, was pressed to death with heavy stones after refusing to enter a plea. His final words, "More weight," became a haunting symbol of defiance. For those imprisoned, life was a nightmare. They were crammed into small, dark cells, often chained to prevent them from escaping through magic. Many died before they even stood trial, succumbing to disease and starvation. Even children weren't spared. Dorothy Good, a 4-year-old, was accused and imprisoned. Her months in captivity left her permanently scarred. By early 1693, the tide began to turn. Doubts over the validity of spectral evidence grew louder. Prominent figures like Increase Mather spoke out, arguing that it was better to let guilty people go free than risk condemning the innocent. Governor William Phips finally stepped in, dissolving the special court and halting the trials. But for many, it was too late. Families were shattered, reputations ruined, and Salem's name forever stained. Historians have spent centuries unraveling the causes of the Salem Witch Trials. Here are some key theories. Religious fervor. Puritanism's rigid worldview left no room for doubt or dissent. Socioeconomic divisions. Many of the accused were from Salem Village, while their accusers often came from wealthier Salem town. Psychological contagion. Fear and hysteria can spread like a virus, particularly in close-knit communities. Ergot poisoning. Some researchers believe contaminated rye grain may have caused hallucinations and convulsions, mimicking the symptoms of possession. What do you think? Could one single factor explain this tragedy, or was it a perfect storm of circumstances? Let me know in the comments. The Salem Witch Trials serve as a cautionary tale about the dangers of fear and the consequences of unchecked power. In the centuries since, Salem has become a symbol of injustice and hysteria. But it also serves as a reminder to question the systems we trust and to ensure that fear never outweighs reason. Could a similar tragedy happen in today's world? Or have we learned enough to prevent history from repeating itself? If this story captivated you, don't miss our deep dive into the lost builders of Stonehenge. How did this ancient marvel come to be, and what secrets does it hold? Like, subscribe, and let's journey deeper into the mysteries of our world.